Hey, dream builders. Welcome back to another episode of the Dream Design Podcast with Amy Lee. I'm your host, Amy Lee Westervelt, and I have a fantastic guest today. You guys, I don't know if you know anything about energy, but if you do, you're going to feel her energy the moment she gets in here. Natalie Woodman is a medical intuitive and psychic surgeon. But aside from that, she's a really amazing, wonderful, compassionate person. And I have had the joy of getting to know her through a program that I was part of. And I'm so glad that she's in my life, and I can't wait for you guys to meet her. So welcome, Natalie, to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have you. So, like we always do, I always like to start out with you kind of explaining, obviously, medical intuitive and psychic surgeon, those aren't things that people decide to be when they grow up, right? So, I would
No.
love to hear a little bit about your journey and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Sure. So I have a background in physiotherapy, particularly neurological physiotherapy. And so I have done that for 26 years. And, when I first qualified as a physio, my journey with my body actually started a year after I became a physio and qualified. I ended up having a back injury. I had to take 6 months off work and I had to rehab my back. So I think before that, I always thought, oh my God, I'm a physio, I can do anything. And I really honestly took my body for granted because I expected it to do things. And so having a back injury, I had an L4 prolapse disc. I literally had to spend time just getting to know my body, rehabbing my body, listening to my body, because I couldn't actually physically sit for 6 months. I had so much muscle spasm, and the consultant had said, actually, this is going to heal conservatively, which meant that I had loads of pain. And, the only thing I could do was lie down or walk or stand. That was it. So those were the two positions. And it was fascinating because I look back at that time and I never got frustrated. I kind of worked with my body and go, okay, so you're experiencing this. Okay, you're only getting temporary relief. Okay, well, what will make this better? What are you trying to tell me? And so that was my journey with my body, where I was literally paying attention to what made things worse, what made things better, what really allowed me to experience relief, even if it was for a short period of time. And my body healed really quickly. And whilst I didn't heal fully, I still had pins and needles in my legs for several years afterwards, but I continued to allow it to be like a work in progress. And one of the things that happened along the way was, because of the anti-inflammatories that I had been taking at the time, I actually ended up damaging my gut. So the gut lining was damaged and I developed leaky gut syndrome a few years later. And then that got me on the path of, well, how do you work with the body, internally? How do I help my body heal? And, to cut a long story short, I really worked on changing my diet. My passion with nutrition and health and wellness really took on a whole new form at that point. And, what really started to happen was a few years after that, I ended up getting divorced. And through that process, I actually experienced the most intense panic attacks, which I had never, ever experienced in my life before. It was like a switch was flipped. And one day, I just, at a visceral cellular level, I literally couldn't breathe, getting on a train, getting into tubes, being surrounded by lots of people. It just felt so claustrophobic. And that's how my journey with spirituality and working with the alternative side of things started. And it just evolved from there, as I started to work on things there. What I realized was that over time, it's never just physical. It really isn't. And, I started to realize that I could only bring a certain aspect of the true me to my physio job, to my physio role. And all the other aspects of my intuition, my guidance, the wisdom that was coming through. I knew that in that arena and environment, it wasn't really conducive to me sharing that freely or people being receptive to that. And so from that place, I really just followed and leaned into my guidance and intuition, and got to the point where I did several courses. I worked with mentors one-on-one to develop certain skills. And now I can't even imagine doing it any other way, because, pain isn't just pain on a physical level. There's an emotional, a spiritual, a mental link, and a cellular energetic link within the body. And so, as a medical intuitive, we can kind of put the pieces together of what the body's trying to communicate. And I think that's what I love, because it gives us as individuals, it gives us control with really reclaiming our bodies, really being empowered in our wisdom and how we communicate with our bodies, and really tapping into the wisdom that it has to share with us.
It's so mind-blowing that you say that, because as I'm listening to you, so many of us identify with our brain and we think we are our brain. But when it comes to our body, we can't even fathom that, like, that's something that we own. Like we look at it as like this skin suit that we're walking around in, and that it doesn't have any innate intelligence, like the brain is where everything happens. And especially with my journey into human design, learning about authorities and all of the other places in your body that you're getting guidance from that have nothing to do with your brain.
Yeah.
And so, really understanding this mind-body connection and just how powerful it is, you step into this place where you can't unknow what you know. And then all of a sudden, you're faced with this traditional medicine route that looks at you like you have three heads, when you're literally so tapped in, so tuned in, so seeing things so clearly, like you can anticipate them. And you've got the traditional medicine route that looks at you like, that's not real. And I talk about this all the time, like, especially with, just any of the holistic people are so quick to dismiss, the woo-woo stuff and the psychic surgery and these things. But at the same time, it's like, oh, you think, essential oils are bunk, but pharmaceuticals, those are fine. Like,
I know
the paradigm shifts that need to take place in this country about what is reality and what isn't. I mean, my husband just did a class in remote viewing, like literally psychic spying, essentially, and being able to see things. Oh, it's amazing. There's a guy that does this room on Clubhouse on Friday evenings. I'll have to send you an invite. It's mind-blowing. And my husband can, like, get coordinates, hypothetical coordinates to something, and then be able to draw it and know exactly what it is he's seeing in his mind in the past, in the future. It's absolutely incredible. But again, it's like Roger Bannister, right? Like when he said, I'm going to break the 4-minute mile. And everybody was like, that's not possible. So we're really stretching the message about what's possible. And, like, I just got to say, you guys, there are some people out there that do this work, and you look at them and you're just kind of like, is it real? Like, you just don't know. But Natalie has such an authenticity about her that when you get to know her and you hear that she does this, those two things, like, they can't coexist. Like, you can't go, this doesn't work, and Natalie is doing it, because she's so authentic and so real in everything about her. And you'll feel that in her energy, that you're going to become a believer. Believe me. Like, if you don't believe in this kind of stuff already, just knowing that she buys into it is going to be enough for you. So let's dig into that a little bit. In terms of, like, I think that the epiphany bridge of, like, why, great, that's what you do, but, like, why does somebody want someone to be able to go into their body psychically, and perform the things that you're able to perform? Like, what is the purpose and what is the transformation that's possible?
Great question. So to start us off in answering this question, I'm going to use myself as an example. So invariably, when we start to have physical symptoms, like physical signs and symptoms within the body physically, those actually started within the energetic body before it became a thing, before it became a diagnosis. It started in the energetic body. And I was diagnosed probably 3 years back with first Lyme's disease and then Epstein-Barr virus. And my functional medicine specialist picked it up really, really early, such that I didn't have any physical symptoms. And I started to work with someone who did energetic work like I do, working on my energetic body. And he's like, oh, it's barely there. And I'm like, great. Well, let's get what's barely there on my energetic body and let's clear it so it doesn't even become a thing. It doesn't even give me any physical symptoms. So I was able to clear that at a cellular level, an energetic level, such that I had no symptoms. I went back a year later, went back home to Cape Town, went to see the functional medicine specialist, and he's like, oh, it's all gone. And I'm like, great, thank you. And that really got me going. It's like, well, why do we have to take the long way around? Up to that point, everything that I did with my body is like, okay, well, I worked with it physically. Okay, and then I work with it emotionally. Okay, and then I'll work with it energetically, but I never linked all of them together. And that's what working as a medical intuitive and psychic surgeon does. Is like we actually doing all of that together because we're working in the energetic body. We can see what's going on because the body's going to talk to us. I can see certain organs in certain areas lighting up that really want and need attention because, like, we have life force that flows through us. So when we can see in the energetic body, when the life force in certain organs isn't healthy, it isn't optimal.
That's interesting. So that story that I was telling you before, you probably can see that thing that I was talking about. Like it's probably like glowing, right? Like this is a really tiny new thing. Like I could actually, like that's why you were nodding. I'm like, why is she nodding? Like it's because you actually confirmed psychically that that's so. And when you were saying that before about the thing with the Lyme disease, it reminded me. And I'm going to be gross for a second, but we're all talking about medical. Like when you get a cold sore. And you start to feel the tingle, you don't actually have a sore yet, but you're already in trouble. Like you're already, the cells have started to form and it's happening. And so to think about stopping that on the cellular level before it even has a chance to manifest in any symptom, it's like your body sends you and again, I'm probably saying it wrong, but when you start to feel negative, you start to feel bad and you have low frequency vibration, that's where mold can grow, right? And that's where the cells start to feel that, this, and your body gives you signals and going, you feel really crappy right now. Just wait. This is about to here's your first warning. This is going to manifest in your body. And then sure enough, it pops up over the skin. And then you're, and I think a lot of people especially with the chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia and stuff, that's a really big one. Whenever I have friends that suffer from that, I'm like, oh, honey, I can't even imagine what's going on under you right now because I can tell, and I'm not even anywhere close to the level you are, but I can tell energetically when people's cells are sore because their skin is sore. You know what I mean?
And you brought up shame. So shame actually creates, we know this, it's been scientifically proven, it actually creates inflammation at a cellular level within the body. So, being able to release those emotions, the guilt, the shame, the judgment, all of that, it actually helps us become healthier. It actually helps us heal. So looking at, where are those energetic blocks within the body? Where are those areas where the body or the organs have low frequency or low vibration or life force, and helping the body with its healing, so that you're not only doing it on a physical level, but you're working in the energetic body, making it easier for things to happen on the physical level so that you can see the results with the healing. And I've had burnout, I've had adrenal fatigue, I've run my first business for 16 years, and I know what it's like to push and slog and to override those messages. And remember, you talked about, living from our heads. So I believe that diagnoses give us an opportunity to really reconnect with our bodies and go, please just listen to me. I really just need a pause. And the more we feel we have the mindset of, I'm not doing enough, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, or, and we buy into the mindset of having to please people, overextend ourselves, overgive in order for us to receive that external validation and acceptance that we need and want. And I know that that was something that I did as a kid growing up and as an adult. And I had to unlearn, I had to rewire my brain, reconnect with my body, and really look at the lessons that burnout gave me, because they were mental, emotional, physical, business lessons. And I do believe that when we take the time to look at the body, work with the body, listen to the body, oh my God, she has so much wisdom and guidance available for us that's unique to each and every one of us, so that we can find our unique way of showing up in the world, our unique way of working with our bodies, so that we're not forcing, we're not pushing, and so that we're not having to plug into this one-size-fits-all program.
I love that. And you actually have a freebie for us that actually deals with this specifically. I'm going to put this on the screen for the folks that are watching us right now live, but tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, so I know that many successful female business owners, we know what it's like to push, to hustle, to strive. And I've worked with so many women, and I've experienced this myself, where you almost feel guilty when your body's like, oh, but I really need to rest. And you feel like, oh, damn it. Why is this happening right now? It's the most inopportune moment. I've got this launch going on. I can't rest right now. This is just not happening. But if we actually leaned in and took like a day out, half a day out, worked with the body, listened to the body, and went, okay, you need rest, you get rest. And doing it without guilt, without judgment, without shame, and really just witnessing, celebrating the body. Because the body's powerful, the body's miraculous. And we only get to really see the power that we have within us when we work with her. And I do believe that the more we can relax, rest, and find that flow, that dance between, leaning back, resting, receiving, and leaning forward, taking action, and moving forward. And that's a dance. And we're not always taught how to do that. That's something that I do believe we have to learn. I've learned that the hard way, but I do believe that there's an easier way. So with this activation, we're looking at releasing that shame, that guilt, that judgment, and that inner struggle that we have. So this activation really helps to just let go of all of that, so that you can just be with your body and go, okay, you need to rest, you need time out, you got it.
And you bring up such a good point too, because, it's almost like cyclical living is a weakness, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, why do you need to ebb and flow? Like, like, how come you can't just be on all the time? I mean, I use an example. I've had 5 children. So what I think of is induction. I think of when they give a baby, Pitocin, and it's like the contractions are just, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then all of a sudden this person ends up in a C-section because the baby's heart rate races. And it's like, oh, there's distress, because the body has the natural rhythm to go, okay, let's get this baby out. Oh, we need to back off a little. So that ebb and flow of the contractions is by design. And then we go, no. This is like a table at a restaurant. We're just going to make this happen. And then the woman's like, I can't handle the pain. Well, it's not designed to be like this, right? This is not the intelligent design of contractions, that they're meant to make you have a rest and go and have a rest. And yes, does it take longer? Sure. Is it more organic? Absolutely. And for the record, because I know there are going to be people, I'm not in any way, shape, or form not saying that there are not needs for medical C-sections and inductions and reasons to have interventions in birth. However, by and large, I do not think it should be the norm. So that is my soapbox moment there. But it's so true, right? Like, it's like, you need to rest. Like, and we, like you said, we shame that part of ourselves, but we also create an internal anxiety where it's like, we're falling behind, right? And what we don't realize is if we take that time, instead of having 5 days of showing up at half life, then half life, then half life, then half life, we have, like you said, half a day of rest. And by the way, ladies, it has to be actual rest. It can't be like low key prospecting in the DMs or like it means literally out of your business. Okay. Just because I know some of you guys are there thinking, well, can I? No, it's rest, REST, right? Like that. Aretha Franklin should have written a book, a song about it, and we wouldn't have been in this position. But it's really important that we have that rest. And when we do, when we come back after that half a day, now we're having day of on, instead of these half-life deteriorations over time. And people don't understand that. And the people who do, guess what? In this new paradigm, those are the ones who are making the millions of dollars. Those are the ones who are not burning out. Those are the ones who are showing up authentically and opening their eyes to DMs and people and all the messages of magnetism. And I know we both have somebody in mind when we say this, right? There's somebody that we're both like, that person. Yeah. And it's because of that recognition and that allowance and that ownership of that cyclical lifestyle.
And it's so important. In order, I believe it really does change how we show up in business. I believe what we attract to us, it actually changes as well. And I found that having had to change my whole lifestyle, my business structure, everything had to change. And I did this slowly over a few years. And where I am now, I work way less. But the soul aligned action I do take, oh my God, off the charts. But I don't have a rolling to-do list. I'm in my body. I'm like, what do I need to action right now? And then, okay, that's done. But also when you work from that place, the action that you then take is effortless because you're doing it in alignment with your body. There isn't this resistance and this toing and froing, like you pulling forward and the body's pulling back, which actually causes so much more strain, more strife, more struggle. And you actually use way more energy than you need to. And so all of that energy, you get to repurpose for what you want, whether that's how you spend time with your family, whether that's looking after your body and self-care, whether that is how you show up in your business, anything and all of it, So I do believe that the more we work with that dance, it helps us with how we show up in our businesses. It helps us with how we show up in our lives without us being overtaxed. And it's aligning with the path of ease, because that was something that I never knew. My old paradigm was struggle, force, push, hustle. And I really had to rewire and learn a whole new way of what is the path of ease? What does this look like? What does this look like in business? What does this look like with, automation in my business? What does this look like with support? What does this look like for me personally? What is the path of ease with my body? What is the path of ease with exercise? What is the path of ease with health and nutrition? So, we get to unpack that in all the different areas of our life. What is the path of ease with, effortless communication that comes from a place of love, congruence, and grace?
And, you just gave me like a thought that I just had to download that, we have so much shame around an individualistic society because it's like she's nodding because she like already knows what I'm going to say. It's really creepy how we like connect this way. She probably got the download too. But so like we have this shame about the individual. Like, who are you to be an individual? You need to be a team player. You need to stop, like making it about you and you resting and all these things. But what's really happening is that we're coming into an awareness that the only change we can make inside of ourselves. We're one control tower, right? We don't have the ability to affect change in the consciousness of everyone. We just have the ability to do it for us. But because it's a collective consciousness, it is a global shift that we're making when we do it for ourselves. So it's interesting, as we come into this new knowledge, we move from a place of, well, it doesn't really matter if you're tired. Get back to the assembly line because you have a job to do, because that's how we as a society protect each other. We're now realizing that each one of us is like an epicenter of divinity that we run. And it's our job to keep it running optimally, because that's literally what we're here to do. Like, I don't care who you are, your job is to run your body, your mind body system optimally so you can create the most wholeness in the world. And when things like, when you go to the chiropractor and you get a tune-up, or when you go to the auto dealership and you get your transmission fluid, or you get your brakes done or whatever, you're doing that so that down the road, oh no, my brakes failed on the highway. You're fixing it way before that, right? Like you're doing these things. So from a medical perspective, you're saying, hey, you've got this really powerful job to do here. And this wholeness to create. Let's keep all those systems squeaky clean and oiled and shined up, and let's get that stuff before it, like, let's get the calculus off your teeth, right? Like, let's get all that stuff before it has a chance to do any damage. And so what that means then, Natalie, and I'm sure you're like, yeah, I know, I mean, duh, is that you then move from the would be nice to have coach into the must have, everybody needs to have this category. Because essentially what we're saying is that this maintenance is kind of your responsibility as a human being suit owner, right?
100%. And here's the thing, the more we work with the body energetically, and this is something that I can hand on heart speak. I'm an embodiment coach. Everything I do, with clients, I've done before in my own body, and I continue to up level and grow and evolve my body so my body can be optimal, so I can show up and your body can become optimal through the work that I help you do. But the bit that is important is, as we work on ourselves energetically, as we shift and clear those dense cellular emotions that are holding us back, because that's what they do. They are standing in the way of your dream. They're standing in the way of you creating what you desire the most. The more I shift and change my mindset, working with my body energetically, the more my relationships change, the more the way I show up in my business changes. My truth has way more potency and power. And each and every one of us has access to this, has the opportunity for, to sharpen our intuitive gifts, to really reclaim that and connect with that. And so that the work that we are here to do, we get to make that even more powerful. And we do that through our bodies. We do that through the frequency, through the calibration, in an energy at the energetic level.
So powerful, Natalie. Oh my goodness. So let me ask you, how do people get a hold of you? Like, if this aligns with them, if they're jumping out of their seats right now going, oh my gosh, you're my person, how do they get a hold of you?
So, my website is bynataliewoodman.com. You can find me there, and the ways in which to work with me are also there. I do have a free Facebook group called Quantum Leap Lounge. And there I talk a lot more about, how to make quantum shifts with ease. Because if you are anything like me and you like, change, and you like efficiency, and you like the path of least resistance, and you want to get there, efficiently and effectively, and then, quantum leaps with ease is the way to go. On social media, it's by Natalie Woodman, and that's Instagram and Facebook.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. You guys definitely follow her, find her, do all the things. She's amazing. She has incredible energy. You're going to want to get into her world for sure. Any final thoughts for our listeners, Natalie?
Every time you are thinking, you're not in your body. So if you need to make a decision, I want you to put your hand on your heart. I want you to breathe. Feel the breath coming in through your nose. Feel it going down into your lungs. Feel your lungs expand. And then feel your diaphragm lower. And then as you breathe out through your mouth. And when you consciously breathe, breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth, connecting with your heartbeat, you are in your body. When you're in your body, that is where you make your decisions from. You make your decisions with your body, in alignment with what is for your highest good. That could be putting your hands on your womb and going, oh, what is in alignment for me today? Or putting your hands on your heart and going, okay, is this true for me? And seeing whether you get a yes or whether you get a no. And the more you do that, the more you connect with your body, ask her to be involved in your decision making. This is how you develop your trust muscle with your body. Because this is a whole new thing for so many people. And the more you do that, the less you are going to need to seek external counsel or external guidance, because your connection to source, the universe, your guides, your downloads are going to come in thick and fast because you're in your body, you're with your body, you're listening to that truth that is within you. And the more you do that, your work is going to become off the charts hot, off the charts powerful. And the decisions that you make for your business, for your life, for your relationships, you know they are in alignment with what is for your highest good. And you're never going to doubt the decisions that you make from that place.
Oh my goodness, Natalie, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I truly appreciate you.
Absolute pleasure. And I hope that each and every one of you got, a few golden nuggets that you can take away with and work with. So thank you so much for having me, Amy. Love you.
Absolutely. Oh, I love you to pieces too. And that will do it for this week on the Dream Design Podcast. Until next time, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. Namaste.